Thanks, Dave. I'm not sure if there's anything better than the glorious, endless possibility of an epic fantasy open world. And now we have the biggest, most thrilling, most detailed open world yet with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Tell me a memory you have of this woman.
It was in the Broccolon forest. Happened on a girl there. Didn't know who she was.
Geralt of Rivia himself. The Butcher of Blaviken.
Keep it going, I don't know a thing.
Do you wish to continue?
Things used to be simple. Monsters were bad, humans good.
How stupid do you think I am?
Maybe you'll just stay forever.
They wanted to hurt her. We're fighting side by side on stairs slippery from blood.
Grab the horse, son.
Hold on tight. Do you wish to say more?
No. Let's begin.
For those that aren't aware, I'm just going to put it out on the table that I am a crazy big Witcher fan.
Oh, really, Hex? I've never noticed.
Well, I love the games, and I've read all the books, and literally been counting the days until this game's release. And finally, it's here. But of course, then with that comes some big expectations.
It's almost dangerous to love something so much, isn't it? Because if it doesn't live up to everything that you'd hoped for, it can be devastating.
Exactly. And, you know, there was some big talk about what this third installment would offer, so it needed to deliver.
Let's start with the story. You are back in the role of Geralt, a monster hunter for hire known as a Witcher.
Geralt of Rivia. Witcher.
This explains why I did not hear your footsteps.
A mysterious and deadly army has invaded the Northern Kingdoms, wreaking havoc and terror in their wake. They are known only as the Wild Hunt.
Geralt also discovers that Ciri, his estranged apprentice whom he trained when she was a girl, has been seen and maybe caught up in this somehow. So you set off in search of her, gathering what information you can.
Let's go.
But valuable information is rarely free, Hex. In exchange, you must ply the only trade you know, slaying monsters.
This is a world so vibrant and rich that I think I shed actual tears the first time I set out into those woods, Barjo. Those glorious, saturated sunsets. Stunning forests and diverse landscapes. Picturesque towns and impressive cities. Everything about this world feels so authentic, so detailed. Even things like the geese that scurry out of your way as you pass through a village. Lovely.
Setting off into the sprawling landscape, for me it harkened back to that glorious sense of freedom we had riding in Red Dead Redemption. This game captures that same magic where you feel truly free with different stories that lie around every corner.
Air strange. Like dropping into a deep cellar on a hot day. Tell me what happened here, step by step.
They took them. Took them all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more likely to ride than fast travel a lot of the time because the riding is so wonderful. And you just hold a button and your horse will auto-navigate the road for you, which is great. The horse AI is a little bit clumsy at times though, isn't it?
Yeah, he just seems to get a bit stuck, or he spawns in a paddock he can't get out of.
Yeah.
Silly horse, get out of there.
The world itself is huge. It's a daunting map at first in terms of scale, but it opens up for you slowly as you take on quests and objectives at your current level. Regardless, it's difficult to stay on task when no matter which direction you ride in, there's some new hidden place to discover. A cottage, some guarded treasure, a monster, or a cave.
And it's exciting taking on whatever is thrown your way, although you might not always be ready for it. Monster hunting is no idle task. And while there are plenty of horrible fiends for you to fight at every turn, like neckers and drowners, taking on the larger beasts requires the right level and a lot of preparation.
Yeah, enemies aren't scaled to your level in The Witcher 3, and at one point I took on a quest that was a little high for me at first, trying to rid a town of a pesky werewolf problem. But I couldn't just go in there and kill it. Its health kept regenerating. First, I had to read a book to discover the werewolf's weaknesses, obtain a recipe for a special oil for use against cursed creatures, collect the ingredients for the oil, which I could then apply to my sword and effectively fight the werewolf.
It sounds tedious, but it's far from that. Geralt's abilities lie in knowing everything there is to know about beasts, monsters, spirits, and ghouls.
Female. Larvae in her wounds have already hatched. Deep cuts over the whole body. Not a drop of blood on the beak or claws.
Performing these tasks make you feel like a real learned hunter, and make you feel not only prepared, but really excited for the fight.
Yeah, and for me there's that greater sense of accomplishment too.
To the combat, it's vastly improved from The Witcher 2, which was more frustrating than challenging. Although those counters, Hex, they take some getting used to.
Yeah, I agree. Here it's a simple task of light and heavy attacks, countering and dodging enemy moves, and using the right magical attacks or signs against each enemy. Because many of them have a weakness to a particular kind of magic.
Most of all, it all feels so fluid. There are some impressive finishes that don't break the flow of combat by slowing things down too much.
Yeah, it's nice and efficient, even on horseback. I also like the inclusion of bombs and crossbows to mix up your fight style.
A crossbow.
Won it in a card game while you ran around.
Especially useful when fighting airborne beasts.
There are 4 difficulty settings to choose from, the last being a permadeath mode, which is a daunting prospect for a 200-hour game.
Oh man, I don't even want to think about what that would be like dying right before the end.
It would be upsetting.
Yeah. I played this on normal, which was nicely balanced, although at this stage I would say for people who prefer a more calculated approach to the combat, maybe consider playing on hard.
The monsters of the land are great too. All uniquely grotesque and terrifying, the stuff of nightmares.
Yes, but in keeping with the lore of this world, there's complexity to all of them. Monsters in The Witcher are often people who have been cursed, or vengeful spirits that died in a betrayal, or misunderstood creatures who have been badly treated.
Their stories can be quite sad, but there are often multiple ways of dealing with them, which makes for some interesting story trees.
Sometimes miscarried fetuses, if they don't get a proper burial, turn into botchlings.
Into fucking what?
Details you don't need to know. There's a bond of blood between this creature and your wife and daughter. I can use that bond to find them.
You go about each quest as a kind of investigation, using your Witcher senses to track a beast,
This way, I think.
or hunt for clues.
A pentagram in chalk.
Then you generally need to make some decisions based on what you've uncovered, and here's where the choice-consequence mechanic comes into play.
Yes, in many instances, it's hard to know where the greater evil lies.
Claim to be imprisoned. How so?
I have found you.
Deception is everywhere, and often not all is what it seems.
Sheathe your weapon, young man.
In real life, you're different than you were in the tapestry.
You generally feel the weight of those choices pretty immediately,
You won't kill anyone, ever again.
but it's hard to say just how much your choices will affect the outcome at this stage of our playthrough. But so far, even the smaller decisions feel important.
I so long to say goodbye.
You also have options in terms of how altruistic you want to play Geralt, and all of them feel true to his character.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it is he's a gruff dude who mostly performs these tasks for money. So I never feel bad about asking for payment for helping people out.
I feel for you, but this is my job, so let's talk about my pay.
Something not right with the coin.
Monster hunting is my job, after all. But choosing to go out of your way to help someone above and beyond the job is up to you.
My brother's in the stable. We've got to save him. He'll burn alive.
What did you think of the quests?
I like them. It was a good mix of smaller tasks and larger story missions. And even the smaller, seemingly unimportant quests seem to play into the larger story somehow.
Yes, after taking down a griffin or lifting a curse on a mage's tower, it can be hard to see how quests like this are contributing to the greater good.
Will you help me if I bring the goat back?
But you'd be surprised how doing small favors for people will play back into the story when those characters pop up again down the track.
And let them not disturb the circle.
Speaking of which, The Witcher 3 boasts an impressive cast of characters who are diverse and for the most part well acted.
Yeah, a negative for me with this series has always been the voice acting, I think.
Come on. Clans are ready to deal. Leave you alone if you do. Someone's done it. Gotta have.
Not likely. Except maybe that daft bastard Wolverston from the Atropos.
It's a little stilted, but you do settle into it after a while.
Yeah, and the motion capture isn't the best we've seen, but for a big open world game like this, I think it's probably about as good as we can get.
The people of the world feel real and react to you appropriately, though. Witches are generally feared and disliked throughout the land,
It's all right. It's over.
so don't expect people to be thrilled by your presence a lot of the time.
I'll not drink with Weaverlaw's freaks.
But seeing scenes play out with Yennefer, great performances from actors like Charles Dance,
I had forgotten how insolent you can be.
the return of Triss
I think he just didn't have much of a choice.
and Zoltan,
Ages, pal.
and then there's Ciri. I don't even need to talk about Ciri, you just need to see this. She's amazing.
She really is, and it's nice to have the game feature a great female fighter rather than another saucy sorceress.
Yeah, it's all really exciting. Not forgetting, of course, the witch's signature brand of sexiness.
Yes, hilariously steamy romance still plays its part in the franchise, but never takes itself too seriously, which is great. In fact, we have to mention a ridiculous scene with a unicorn, which is just...
When are you gonna finally burn this piece of junk?
My heart couldn't take it.
Yeah, and let go of the mane.
I know you. I let go, you throw us off.
Yeah, I love it all, especially because it's equal opportunity gratuity. The female characters in this game are all dressed and covered as appropriately as the main protagonist when they're out and about in the world, which is so great to see. When it comes time to show some skin, the game doesn't discriminate, which I think we can all appreciate.
Right, well, let's move on to the technical side of things, the ability tree and crafting.
Yes, there is a wonderfully detailed skill system that's completely customizable to build however you see fit. Filling out ability sets and adding a mutagen of the same color will provide impressive boosts as well.
Plus, it allows you to swap different abilities in and out whenever you choose. The freedom to adjust which skills and abilities you use in a long game like this is such a smart inclusion, I think.
Yeah, it's always great when you encounter an RPG where you can actually say you had fun hanging out in the menus. It's all been expanded upon from the last game and yet refined as well.
There's an endless list of herbs and materials to collect in the world, but after you've crafted a potion once, anytime you meditate, it will automatically be replenished.
Honestly, Barjo, alchemy is one of my favorite elements of any fantasy universe, and there's just so much to play with here. It's awesome. Potions and bombs and decoctions and sword oils. I just love making stuff. And then you roll up to a fight like throwing back potions and bombs like some kind of sword-swinging magician. It's great.
That said, there's challenge and motivation in getting the necessary mats to craft those glorious pieces of armor you crave, and enhance them with runes. Everything in this land is expensive, so you really have to work for your gear.
Yeah, and don't expect to get your hands on the best looking gear straight off the bat either. I couldn't deny the armor stats on these puffy green pantaloons, but damn, bit of a monster hunter buzzkill, Barjo.
It all adds to that sense of growth and progression, though, and I think the end game for this is going to feel well earned. I can't wait to get there.
Yeah, neither can I. And yet I can because I never want it to end. I want to keep sailing in boats to mysterious cursed islands, trudging through swamps and solving mysteries in mountains. And I'll do it all with fabulous hair.
Which you can get cut in style by visiting any barber. Hex, we haven't mentioned the dynamic beard growth.
Ah yes, he gets wild and woolly as time passes. So naturally, when I knew I was going to meet Triss, I paid a quick visit to the barber to get cleaned up.
Make me look decent. So long.
One last thing to mention, as if this game wasn't large and evolving enough, they've included their very own brand of a Hearthstone Magic the Gathering style card game called Gwent, in which you collect and battle with cards against pretty much any merchant NPC.
Yeah, I steered well clear of that. There's just so much to this game already without getting lost in some card battle saga. Plus, some of the story characters play it as well.
I do. And what's more, I usually win.
So it's kind of funny when you're discussing this great evil threatening the land and then all of a sudden they just nerd out like, fancy a game of Gwent? I've got some sweet rares I can trade.
Outplay me, and I'll give you one of my unique cards. How's that for enticement?
We'll play another time.
But we should wrap this up. Hex, after all the delayed releases, all this time of waiting and hoping, did The Witcher 3 live up to your expectations?
Look, I know this sounds melodramatic, but if I never played another game again for the rest of my life, except this one, I think I'd still be happy. It is literally the result of a recipe that crafts everything I could possibly want in a video game. It's a genuine struggle to leave this world each day to eat, sleep, and just go to work. It absolutely did not disappoint. It's game of the year. It's why I play games. It's 5 out of 5 from me.
Yes, it's hard to fault an experience as gloriously rich as this one. I was a little worried that the world might just feel too big and expansive to retain my interest for the entire game. But once you get into it, you really do lose yourself to a world that you just don't want to come out of. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 stars as well.
Double fives means a golden chicken award. And of course, it also means a special celebration.
Yeah, so we thought, what better way to celebrate than with a very own 5-star sex horse?
Well, it's a sex unicorn, Barjo.
We're running out of ideas to celebrate with.
A sword in a stone. Things begging me to pull it out.